It is one of the biggest defeats in history for Theresa May's 2-year plan, or her 2-year trials of trying to develop a Brexit strategy has just been rejected by the Parliament, the British Parliament, and so we're now really back to sort of square one. Nobody's going to know what is actually happening to Brexit now. This is a complete disaster for Theresa May. Whether or not she's going to actually have to go back to the EU, try and get another deal, that maybe try and pass Parliament. But I mean, this is a huge defeat. I mean, it's hi, how you doing? It's a huge defeat for her. We're outside 10 Downing Street. This is the Foreign Office, and we're just going back along, see who's coming out to speak to us with regards to Theresa May and what has actually happened with this massive defeat for her. Still, great slap. May's face, yes. Well, it's a huge slap in the face for me. I mean, I think she only got 200 votes on this deal, which were a lot of whom would be paid members of the cabinet and people who are actually getting a salary from that. The same probably 200 who voted to keep her in power. Now it's a huge disaster for her. Slap in the face, and it was a very badly put together, incredibly badly put together, and very silly to actually put it in front of the Parliament.
When you're ready. Yeah. And he's another example. Here we go, sorry. Yeah. And he's an example of the divisions that Brexit has caused in this country. Supporters of Parliament and here, supporters of people's vote there, and the police are standing between them.
Romania! Retirement in Romania! Get your minutes sorted out! Come on!
This country, supporters of a hard Brexit on one side, on the other side, supporters of a people's vote, divided by a line of police. And if the outcome...
We're not! You lot are taking We're not!
So this is very interesting. Sorry, gents. Oh, sorry. So this is a very interesting set where nobody knows what's going to happen now. It's almost could have been gerrymandered. It may not have been. We have got some. We'll be finding out very shortly what's actually happening and what the reaction are by the political class in Parliament Square. So Theresa May has not managed to get her deal through. She lost by over 400 votes to 200 votes, and this is a major problem for her now, because any way that she turns is going to cause problems. Trying to get a no-deal Brexit through, trying to get a second referendum through, everything is going to cause problems. There's not one simple solution for any of the outcomes that can potentially happen from this. And yeah, just an incredible period. Just now, it's there's nothing that she can basically do. I mean, the EU said there's not going to be any future negotiations or any changes to the deal. Compromise now. Whether we've only got 70 odd days to actually potentially get a no-deal Brexit. and it's a complete mess. She was never going to get the situation or the deal through, and it was never going to happen. And
الآن مطروحة في حكومتها سيجري التصويت على سحب فرقة منها بحسب طلب زعيم حزب العمال جيريمي كوربين الذي شجعه هذا الفرق.
And now Jeremy Corbyn might try and try and put a vote of no confidence in, and if the vote of no confidence goes through, it looks like that won't be passed anyway. How you doing, buddy? All right. So it looks like that's not going to be passed either.
As a matter of honour, but I doubt you will. Referendum, in or out, do you want to be part of the European Union or not? And the result was 52-48. Now, in many straightforward elections, that would be seen as a straight majority. But in a referendum that was meant to be simply advisory, this is, it was a terribly contentious result. So there are asking people, look, yeah, we heard you the first time, but actually we want you to vote again. A lot of people are really worried that could, for example, provoke violence. It would increase people's distrust in the whole political process. And Brian, there are parallels here between the UK and the US. We have seen a rise in populism, if you like. We have a divided country. We have, as demonstrated tonight, gridlock, paralysis, and now people are calling for some kind of way to get us out of this, whether it's a general election or a second referendum. But the way ahead is not clear, and Britain has never been in this position before. I mean, for 75 years, since World War II, Britain has had a policy of close integration with Europe, and for 45 years, membership of the European Union, the world's biggest trading bloc. That, just over 70 days' time, is due to end, and no one knows right now how that exactly will end. Right?
So basically, Theresa May's made a mess of Brexit. She's brought it through a deal that's not passed Parliament. It's an unprecedented disaster for her, and the whole of the world is now looking at the UK going, what the hell has actually just happened? Are you sorry? Okay.
What do you think?
Good, that's good. Very good. No deal Brexit.
It's very clear, unambiguous. What the people want.
Yeah.
You can't take the people for a ride.
Yeah.
You just can't take the people for a ride.
No.
And the economy is not stupid. So if you ignore economic indicators, you can't.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen now then?
Oh, every whole thing is going to unravel. If she wants to keep her position, she has to listen to the people. Period.
Yeah. Which means we have to go out of the EU.
So the Parliament is now in charge of affairs. It's not just a rubber stamp or just. She's got to listen. She's got to understand what the feelings of the people.
No, but the feelings of the Parliament is not the same as the feelings of the people. What the people voted for was to leave the EU, and what there is a whole bunch of Remainers. Well, I'll give you an example. And there's 50 odd seats in Scotland. Not one. I've only one or two, leavers, and there's 1 million people in Scotland who voted to leave the EU. So they're not listening to people, they're not voted as representatives just now. So there's many more people who want what do we call a hard Brexit, or what would be just to leave the EU. And now they have to be actually taken on board. That's we have to leave the EU and then negotiate after we leave.
Brussels is very astute in negotiating.
It doesn't matter.
We want to get the
doesn't
best
matter.
that they want.
Doesn't matter. Well, let me explain. We import more than we export. So if we went to WTO and they put barriers up on the trade, it's going to affect them more than it's going to affect us because we export. So the whole point is that if we get a hard Brexit or just a prop who's leaving, then which is what they're trying to fight against it, because the majority of them are globalist, corporatist globalists, and they're not prepared to enact what they've been told by the British people, which is to leave the EU, and they're not doing that. So they're trying to keep us in on some manner, some backhanded way.
Yeah, really, they're trying to get a soft press.
Yeah, but that's not right.
that's
But they should be
second
doing that because that means they're not leaving. Because that's not leaving.
Because they don't understand the people.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to another general election, the people will teach them a lesson.
Yeah. No vote UKIP. They'll be voting UKIP.
Yes, that's essentially what's going to happen.
It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So, I mean, it's actually quite quiet here. I thought this was actually going to more lively, but it's actually quieter. I was expecting the MPs to come out and actually have a chat.
Unemployment, extreme poverty that is wages, nothing. Basically,
the full world's now saying we don't know what's going to happen, which is exactly the right thing. It's been a complete anticlimax because both the Leavers and the Remainers have basically got what they wanted to leave or not to have Theresa May's deal. So both the Remainers and the Brexiteers both got what they wanted tonight. The thing that the greatest thing the greatest problem is the fact that neither the Brexiteers or the Remainers, there's no path forward. There's nothing that's actually going forward on the back of this. We are now at one of the most interesting periods, and tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day as well, because nobody has got a roadmap now. The roadmap has been kicked out unless the EU compromises and maybe stops the backstop, which is just keeping basically a political methodology of keeping us in the customs union, which means that we're not basically leaving the EU. That let me just spin you around. That means that we will still be held within the EU in some manner, and we would be basically a vassal state, as Jacob Rees-Mogg has correctly pointed out, that we will not be able to leave the European Union through May's deal, which has now been resoundingly as we thought it was going to be. And it's now going a real anticlimax. It's now a real sort of, everybody's basically gone within a matter of minutes from actually being in a lot of noise on. Everything's gone. The world's media is going to happen here. Everybody from all over the world will not have a clue what's happening. Unless this was actually a strategy to have another outcome, whether it be the Norway model or Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know if Jeremy Corbyn is now going to put in a vote of no confidence. It's unlikely that a vote of no confidence is even going to do anything, or Theresa May will actually be challenged with that, because Conservatives and the DUP will not actually ban confidence in Theresa May. She can't be. Here's Femi, who ran away from me last time. He seems very big. I don't understand why he's so big in politics these days. I'm not sure what he's bringing to the political discourse. But anyway, I mean, he seems to be the darling of the media, but obviously you've got to be singing the correct message, or you're not actually getting on the media. It's very much controlled by the globalist corporatists. But I mean, this place is dead. I mean, it's absolutely dead just now. I would have thought the MPs would have been out explaining to the world press what had actually happened. Oh, there's...
I'll come find you in...
The head of the SNP's just gone up there. So it would be good to actually find out what the SNP were actually saying as well. Hopefully get the camera out, stand out and get some interviews. Freddie.
Well. I've made good friends with the...
Freddie, what was your thoughts there?
230 is a very big number. It's 5 less than the mass number for important isotope of uranium, and 8 less than another mass number of another important isotope of uranium. I would have liked it to be 260. Clearly, a few of them got frightened. 15 of them got frightened, hence 260 became 230.
But I mean, it's still a massive. I mean, what's she going to do now? I mean, is she going to resign, or will she just keep plodding on?
What should she do?
What do you think she do? What do you think
I
she
think
do?
she should do resign immediately.
Yeah, but
Resign
what will she
immediately.
do? She'll keep on plodding on, won't she?
The creature is shameless. The creature is shameless. Would you like the opinions of Paul Oakley, the General Secretary of UKIP?
Oh, fantastic, Mr. Oakley. How are we, sir?
Friendly.
This is the Guerilla TV channel. Mr. Oakley, you are the General Secretary of UKIP.
Yeah, General Secretary and Immigration Spokesman.
Fantastic. I'm sure you can tell us lots. We've been chatting away about this. I should have put my stand up before we actually conducted this. But can you just tell us what your thoughts were on the what happened there?
Well, there's no way out for Theresa May. I'm strongly suspicious now that she's going to try and extend Article 50. That will mean that there will be new European elections towards the end of May, and what happens in the interim, I have no idea.
Does that mean the UK will be eligible to pay the next contributions as well as potentially 39 billion?
Oh yes, absolutely. We will carry on paying into it. And the thing that everybody's forgetting, in fact, with this whole Brexit thing, is that the euro itself remains fundamentally flawed, and it's teetering at the moment. And as and when the overdue economic crash comes, because it's been 10 years now, how much money are we going to have to bail into the euro? How much money are people going to bail out from their bank accounts, because we now have the bailout provisions? It's absolutely appalling, and I curse the people if they're going to keep us in, because we need to get as far away from this shipwreck as possible, as quickly as possible.
And because it's full of Remainers as well, I mean 75% Remainers, that's a great possibility to fudge the whole thing to actually keep us in.
Of course they will. I mean, I was in the Tories for 20 years. I stood for the Conservatives in the 2005 general election. I can tell you this, the way they select their candidates, they never choose anybody who's an out-and-out Eurosceptic, and I'm saying Eurosceptic rather than Europhobe. If you criticise the EU in any way, you will not get a nice plum seat in the Conservatives, and that's why that place is now stuffed with Remoaners.
Well, like Anna Soubry.
Anna Soubry, former SDP, and doesn't it show?
She is a complete authoritarian liberal, isn't she?
Oh, she's awful. I do like her Margaret Thatcher impression, though. She obviously practices that in front of the mirror.
Yes, but I mean, she's in a Leave seat, so she's basically not only misrepresenting the country because it was they voted to leave, but also misrepresenting their constituents.
Yes, absolutely. And if there is a general election, whether imminently or not, UKIP are going to pile a lot of effort into that seat and get rid of that woman.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think now, because it really depends on how this plays out over the next period of time, but this could surely be a massive opportunity for UKIP and a potentially massive swing to UKIP because of the complete incompetence. For 2 years, Theresa May has tried to create this deal, and it's now been blown right out of the water.
Yeah, what we should have done is left immediately on the 24th of June and then undertake all the negotiation after that. We don't need to be in.
Well, it took the Czech Republic now and Czechoslovakia 6 months to succeed from one another, and it's now taken us 2 years and we've not done anything yet.
Exactly. There is no will to do this, and we've all seen that famous picture of Theresa May with the I'm in posters. I mean, I regularly retweet that on Twitter just to remind people this was her idea all along. She's got no enthusiasm for it. The whole thing collapses, then that's just too bad. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a kid being asked to do the washing up. They
Yeah.
do it badly in the hope that they'll be asked to not bother anymore.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, listen, it's an absolute pleasure meeting you, and hopefully we'll
Likewise.
get to see you again.
All right,
Thanks
take
very
care.
much. Thanks very much. Thanks, Freddie. Thank you. So that was very interesting there. What's actually happening from the UKIP, and we've got the leader of the SNP doing another interview just now. So I'm going to set up the tripod and try and actually get him to do something on camera. See if we can get them to explain what's happening to the million Scots who voted for Brexit. So let me just, sorry if I'll shoot different camera angles here.
So we're not doing this all over again. No, I'm not.
Oh. Excuse me. So, I'm just going to set up this tripod. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, that's us, I think, back in business. So we're just waiting. We'll see if I think it's Mr. Blackwood, the leader of the SNP group in London and Westminster, is prepared to actually give us is going to give us a chat.
Are you kidding me?
So that's us, guys. We're back in business.
No, you have really difficult to find people. I think that was Stephen
So that's us set up. So hopefully we'll get a wee chat with the leader of the SNP. which will certainly be an interesting conversation, I think. See what how they actually have viewed what the outcome is going to be. It's a nice guy, lovely fellow. But very much obviously an anticlimax what's actually happened, and there must have been a number of Conservatives who have actually not voted in line with the government, so that's a real issue for them, pretty much in line with how many people actually voted for Theresa May in the actual election when she was challenged in the election. So that's a significant issue, and concerning for Theresa May. If the Labour Party are going to put a vote, it seems a futile gesture, but obviously I don't think any of even the rebel Conservatives are going to vote for a replacer. They wouldn't be keen in getting a Labour MP or a Labour Party in power, like Turkey's voting for Christmas. So I mean it's a hell of a situation just now. There's not much that can be done. It's all rocks and hard places. Everywhere you're going to turn just now. Are they going to get it through Parliament? Any deal? I mean, even a second referendum. There's no. It's in a political quagmires of the fact of trying to, with so many Remainers in the Parliament, trying to actually get it through. It's just practically impossible. And if they do go back for a second referendum, it'll be the biggest condemnation of actually democracy that has ever happened. So I mean, it's just going to be an incredible situation. So hopefully get a wee chat with the leader of the SNP, and hopefully he can do Norman Lamont as well. Hold on, I'll be back. Honestly, one of the things about trying to speak to people. Oh, Femi, how you doing, buddy? You all right? Come on over. How are we? Are you cold? You feeling cold?
Oh,
we're on thing. Are you okay for a wee chat?
Sure.
So, what was your thoughts, Femi? It was nice to see you up in Edinburgh as well. We get interrupted. It wasn't your fault, but we get rudely interrupted with people pulling us away. What was your thoughts?
Oh yes, yeah, I remember.
That was it wasn't you. It wasn't nothing to do with you, mate.
It was
somebody pulling you away. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
What was your thoughts on today then? What was your thoughts?
I think it's absolutely great that we don't get we're not going to have a Brexit deal. That means you have less control. That actually people specifically voted to have more control. But I've got to go. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Femi always seems to want to run away from you. I don't know what it is, but another quick conversation there with him. But he seems to be the darling of the media. Not really quite sure the intellectual significance, but if you can't really sustain a conversation through me, then it's I don't know how he's sustaining the conversation. I think that the media don't really want somebody like myself who would actually maybe ask some interesting questions, but it's simple to get somebody who's compliant like Femi. So yeah, well, let's just find out if there's Norman Lamont. Norman Lamont. But unfortunately, not really wanting to have a chat. I don't really understand the logic of being an MP and then not wanting to actually talk to people. That doesn't make much sense, if you ask me. But yes, hopefully get Mr. Blackwell. I think it is Blackwell. Blackwood. Well, it's an interview just now as well, but hopefully we'll get some more of the MPs coming out and actually now discussing what actually in there. Bit of a, I mean, I don't really know what to say. It's just a disaster for Theresa May. The Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic separated within 6 months. It's taken them 2 years to actually come up with a deal. Is completely unacceptable to the British. Can't get through the British Parliament. So they can't do it in 2 years. You have a Remainer doing something that somebody who is actually doing or is actually processing or being the figurehead of the process. The right situation to actually put it through Parliament. I mean, it's crazy. Just crazy. I mean, what's the point in actually having a Remainer doing the Brexit process? But there's so many Remain MPs, there's so many globalists. They've actually gerrymandered the British Parliament to have from the central office to actually have parties, whether it be the Lib Dems or the Democrats within the Labour Party or the Christian Democrats, all of whom are authoritarian, basically liberalists, globalists. It's just an absolute political stitch-up. And this is why we really need probably a change in the political parties. We need to change the parties that we're actually voting for. And if you're one of the 17.4 million Brexiteers, there's absolutely, unless you're voting in Jacob Rees-Mogg or some of the other well-known Brexiteers. I mean, Anna Soubry is a Remainer in charge of a Brexit constituency. I mean, the majority of Anna Soubry, and she's an ardent Remainer. Same with Anna Turley, who's a Labour MP, and they basically have voted to remain or want to vote to remain. So they're basically misrepresenting their constituents. It's just an incredible time. UKIP could actually explode again. I mean, it could literally explode. And we could actually see a huge increase. If all the Brexiteers woke up and went to UKIP, the difference in politics would be absolutely incredible. This is what Theresa May is really playing a very thin line between what is actually going to be acceptable to the British people and the Brexiteers, and what is going to how she can sustain a party. People are starting to get very clued up on the fact that all these Brexiteers, all these Remainers are being obviously parachuted in by Tory central office to actually completely misrepresent not only their constituents but also Brexit voting community. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible situation. I don't know if more of the MPs are going to come out at this time, but certainly they're starting to do the rounds here and speak to the TV and radio stations to actually put forward or discuss what's actually happened and what the ramifications of what's actually happened are. It's just an incredible time. let's hope we can actually speak to Mr Blackwell and find out if what has actually happened from the SNP's point of view, which is going to be massive. Just waiting to get him to come out of the actual process. But a lot of these MPs are not wanting to talk to anybody who is probably not one of the large media outlets. I mean, it's very much gerrymandered. I mean, it's gerrymandered between Remain MPs misrepresenting their constituents and media outlets who, again, are in this sort of globalist, liberalist, authoritarian cabal that's pushing towards this one world totalitarian government. But I mean, it's quite funny. I mean, Femi running away, that's twice Femi's ran away. I mean, obviously, if you're not really able to hold a conversation and debate properly, why are you on national media? I mean, why would you run away from little old me? We've talked to everybody. We've talked to all sorts of politicians. We've gone fantastically well. We've not had any problems with any politicians from all the parties. I don't know why Femi would find it difficult to answer the questions from me. But he's a media darling, and he's on speaking to the large media outlets. So, well, I don't know. It's you'll have to come to your own conclusions on the back of this. Let me just flip you around here. There's Mr. Blackwell there.
In a moment, yeah, sorry, I'll be in touch. Right. Let's see.
No TV this time, we'll just keep it strictly radio this time. Yeah.
I was saying,
significant numbers. How do you reflect on what we've seen here today?
You know, I think I'd use the word wow. A defeat for the government of 230. This is the biggest defeat for a government since the 1920s. The Prime Minister wouldn't listen. There's so many people that are telling me that this deal that she was bringing forward didn't carry support. It's utter humiliation for her. She really now needs to reflect on where we are and the fact that the UK, as things stand, is due to leave the European Union at the 29th of March. She really needs to start to show some leadership for the first time and recognise that we need to take a risk off the table. She should immediately postpone the Article 40 process and get this going. She needs to recognise that there is no such thing as human rights. It's going to cost jobs. It's hitting people's living standards. She has to do the right thing, and that is to recognise that we have to push this back to the people. There must be people to give the people along with the United Kingdom the opportunity to reflect on where we are. Leadership is about recognising doing the right thing, and it has to be a recognition that when jobs are going to be lost, as they are already been doing in the likes of Jaguar Land Rover, that the Prime Minister has to stop and reflect. This is an act of national madness and driving forward. The job of any Prime Minister is to respect the interests of the population, protect their security. Leaving the European Union endangers the economic security of our citizens. She must
speaking to a number of your colleagues earlier, they said she lost the night and said that we've seen that she should come in and decide. Would you go as far as that?
Well, there's emotional confidence to put that for tomorrow. I think the House has got to recognise this is a government which is dysfunctional. It can't get its programme from the government. It really ought to go. Not just the Prime Minister, but the whole government should go.
How do you think tomorrow will play out then?
Well, let's wait and see. But I think Parliament has to reflect on where we are. There is the time to recognise we need to have an election. We need to make a decision. Put one forward the Article 50 process. Engage in the process. And let's also tell the
should this motion tomorrow be defeated, that was Labour's big hand that they're playing now. If that's defeated, would your message to Jeremy Corbyn be, well, you've had your chance now, get behind it?
His voters, his members, are demonstrating in poll after poll that they want to stay in the European Union. He needs to show some leadership. All of us have a responsibility. get that people's vote. I think people would leave the 27th vote Jeff Corbyn if he doesn't win.
Hello, Mr. Blackwell, are you well?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
My name is David Valentine. I'm from the Guerilla TV channel.
We'll come to you in a bit.
No problem, boss. No problem. Thank you. Not sure. We spoke very quietly there. I'm not sure if that picked up there, but that's absolutely fantastic with Mr. Matt. So they're now talking about a second vote, another referendum. This is par for the course for the political class, or what happens if you vote against the European Union. You have to vote again. It's a complete betrayal of British democracy, having to re-vote for them not implementing the vote that was actually done before. And what might actually happen is you might actually get more people voting against being part of the EU now because of the lack of respect for democracy in the UK. This might actually, even if they get a second vote, what are they going to do if they get a second vote and lose? How is that going to work out? If they get a second vote and lose the second vote again, how is it going to work for democracy? Is it going to be globalist, authoritarian globalists, that they're still not going to put it through as a no deal and actually just come out of the EU? I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Apparently, there might be another vote of no confidence by Jeremy Corbyn, by the Labour Party, and they put forward in the government, which I don't think is going to be successful either. So it is a complete stalemate just now in the actual House of Parliament. Oh, starting to get busier. That's it. They must be coming out now. So, very interesting. I don't know if we could actually move this and actually try and get somebody else. Try to find out if there's any other MPs here so we can actually get a chat with other MPs. Let's just have a wee wander. Oh, here's... Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's fine. Are you Vince's secretary?
Yeah, we just go do another.
All right, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Just thanks for that service, and then that's it. Thanks a minute. Okay, thank you. I'll get back to you. Thanks. Yeah. Do you want to go into wall service? Yeah.
So, Vince Cable there. Didn't really hear what he was saying, but I mean,
Yeah, we're good. Good.
motion, that's going to happen. The government will win the confidence motion. And the Prime Minister's policy will remain the same, which is we're going to try and get this deal better, or we're going to leave on the 29th of March without a withdrawal agreement. So I very much hope she'll make a statement along these lines, which the ERG has, with Global Britain, has drafted for her, which sets out this two-strand approach. Keep the pressure up by preparing for a Brexit, which is a perfectly safe haven for the British economy. Obviously, it's not optimal as a sensible arrangement, but the EU won't give us a sensible arrangement. British people don't want to be taken hostage by the EU.
This is a defeat of 230. This is the largest in history for a 60 government. In normal circumstances, Prime Minister would probably consider resignation in this situation.
Well, these are not normal circumstances. There is something called the Fixed Term Parliaments Act, which has changed the chemistry of the relationship between the government and Parliament. And in any case, the Prime Minister will win the confidence motion tomorrow, I have no doubt. And she will win it on the platform of saying we're going to try and improve the
Yeah, he was busy.
If that can't be done, we'll be leaving on the 29th of March on WTO terms, which is a perfectly safe haven, as I say, set out this proposal for the government about how to run this two-strand approach over the next few months towards the 29th of March.
Do you think there is any scope for putting more pressure on the EU to get more out of them for a better deal?
Yes, I do. I think it was interesting the German Foreign Minister this morning suggested that there would be further talks of the government's was defeated in the House of Commons today. I would expect as we approach the 29th of March and the EU becomes more scared, we might actually leave the European Union without a withdrawal agreement, without paying the £39 billion, and proving that this country's got fighting spirit. Then they will want to meet us halfway. I'm confident that the European Union in the end will wish to be sensible. We may need to leave first, and then they will be sensible. But they're already making contingency plans for the United Kingdom to leave without a withdrawal. Things like aviation services and citizenship, and the transit convention so that we can carry on running trucks in each other's jurisdictions. All these things are being prepared on both sides of the channel.
There's going to be an increase in calls now for the exit date to be delayed to the 29th of March because we are still sitting here with no deal, still negotiating, still working. What would you say to people who are getting worried about that exit date?
Well, be careful what you wish for. JP Morgan campaigned for Remain. They now say that just extending the exit date is the worst of all worlds, quote. They say it will be death by 1,000 cuts for the British economy. It will be economic paralysis and will encourage companies to consider investing abroad. What we've got to do is end the uncertainty. The British people certainly want us to get on with this, so a quick and swift Brexit via the safe haven of the WTO framework is far more preferable than just extending the uncertainty and the agony of this debate.
But is the government prepared for a no-deal situation?
The government's done far more preparation than it's letting on. There are officials telling businesses that they can't disclose what's being prepared, because of course the government's been trying to create an atmosphere of fear around WTO Brexit because they wanted the MPs to vote for this agreement. Well, that's obviously now not going to happen unless it very substantial changes. The government's got to go for a change of gear. Not least, if we want to have a chance of negotiating with the EU, we've got to have the alternative agreement without an agreement in order to keep up the pressure from the EU. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr.
I've got this person over here.
Okay, no problem, that's fine. So, very interesting. So the ERG, I think it was Mr. Jenkins, is basically saying that they're going to have look for potentially a revised deal. He thinks that Theresa May is going to survive the vote of no confidence, which has obviously been place just now, and so it's the vote of no confidence is in just now, and it's unlikely that Theresa May is going to be affected by the vote of no confidence. But really, there's nothing that's changed. There's nothing that's been advanced just now. There's no change in position. And there's so many variables. There's so many second referendums, Norway options, so many variables that even the Labour Party wanting to remain in the customs union, remain in the single market, same as the SNP's position, which is not really leaving the European Union. So there's a definite distinction or a definite schism between what the people have actually voted for and what is actually what's actually been allowed to happen through our political class, and this is a potentially a major issue, a major problem for us to actually advance Brexit. So it's a big issue, big problem. So let's just find out who else is here. Sorry, I'm showing you the top of my head.
How are you? No, I've just been inside.
Have you?
After 2.5 hours, I need to go to build.
You want a quick chat?
Sorry?
You want a quick chat?
Who are you, sir?
We're at the Guerilla TV channel. Basically what we do, we broadcast...
I'm all right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Very difficult to get the MPs actually having a chat. You would think they would be wanting to disseminate the information to the actual people who are voting for them, but obviously it's very much a controlled environment where the smaller independents are squeezed. Yeah, that's part and parcel of the bigger scheme of things. Just having a wee look about who else is here.
Things. What we've got to do now, and which the Prime Minister set out tonight, is to create a majority in the House of Commons for a deal that allows an orderly Brexit to respect the result of the referendum. Thank you. Oh, well done. Yes. Well, we have to win it. The DUP are going to vote for us, the ERG are going to vote for us, but until everybody's through the lobby, you can't. You know, the person who falls over on the way to the... You know, the numbers are tight. I mean, we should win it, but you can't. I mean, I hope it's a positive, and from my perspective, in the sense that it allows MPs to be general election. There's not going to be a general election, therefore they have to consider other options. So that's why it was. That's why it was.
So again, Mr. Mandel saying that he thinks that the Conservatives are going to win tomorrow. I think it is the vote of no confidence. It's been tabled by the Labour Party, obviously, and that the numbers should be there. P will probably vote to keep Theresa May, even though it's been a bit of a disaster today. So that's a major problem for him, a major issue. So it's become very quiet. Not sure what those guys are waiting for, but it seems all the action's down here.
Completely recovered.
Pierre Jenkins.
Well, a bit of both. I mean,
whether Theresa May continues or not, I am supporting her in the vote conference.
What do you think on what she said about this is the final deal that she's
Well, that depends upon how much good faith.
I know. I think it's going to. Do you want that kind of thing going down just to talk precedent for this?
Politicians get this deal. They cannot take back control of the politicians.
I know, I'm asking you a rhetorical question there.
The government makes difficult for itself. It's going to move and obviously
Well, likewise, George. I know, but I'm
well, we're recommending a two-strand approach, which is more than 12 we obviously want to join at the same time. There's not enough they've already checked. That wasn't avoided for the
I'm sure we'll get a chat later.
Okay.
Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
Lovely to see you, Alex. Alex Scott.
So, I mean, just talking there and discussing that with Mr. Blackwell about the fact that the million Scots who voted for Brexit aren't really represented in by any of the Scottish parties, and that's a major problem just now. The lack of representation, both in the Scottish Parliament and in the Westminster Parliament. He said that nobody voted to be poorer, but that wasn't what the vote was about. It was about whether or not to leave the EU or stay in the EU. So, a million Scots voted to leave the EU. And basically there's no representation by the SNP, the Greens, Labour, the Scottish Conservative Party in the main, although there are individuals both in the Labour Party, Scottish Labour Party, but these are very much a minority. So basically, Mr. Blackwell said he represents all his constituents, but obviously that's not strictly true, and neither does the SNP, because all of the SNP MPs are basically wanting to stay in the single market and stay in the customs union. So there's no representation, and it looks like only UKIP is potentially going to represent Scots who want to, or the new Scottish Libertarian Party are going to represent Scots who want to leave the EU. Certainly it's not going to be the representing them. So that's a big problem. I mean, obviously there might be other political parties that are coming up just now. The Scottish Libertarian Party's already started, and looks like we're going to see potentially a Scottish Liberalist party as well. So depending on what the policies will be on the back of that as well. So not to be talked to by Scott, not to be talked to by the SNP is a bit strange, but I'm starting to think there's limitations with the SNP, and we might have to, over a period of time, see if there's going to be a change now. They've already seen the SNP go down substantially in the votes because of their stance on the EU. And it's not really independence if you are wanting to stay in the EU. That doesn't make sense. That's an oxymoron. You're just basically transferring power from the Westminster to the undemocratic European Union. So it's a major issue for the SNP. A million Scots who are not being represented. And so I mean, it's just more and more Scots will actually wake up to the fact that they are just not represented by any of the political parties in Scotland. If you're wanting to be outside the EU, the only ones that would rep UKIP and potentially the Scottish Libertarian Party. Maybe some of the other parties might represent you, but these are really the only two. So, interesting.
I can ask that group that just checked. Yeah. All right, cheers.
Either searching for absolute perfection or are trying to overturn the outcome of the referendum. We even have a second one, like a number of our colleagues in the East Midlands, for example. I think they're misguided. We've got to deliver on the referendum, leave the European Union. And I personally am still very optimistic about the future of the country once we've done that. But that is the task for members of Parliament now. Show a degree of pragmatism, be willing to compromise, but deliver on the referendum.
The most immediate thing you've got to deal with tomorrow is the vote of no confidence.
Prime Minister's already saying she now needs to
Well, I hope all Conservatives and our partners, the DUP, will vote for the Prime Minister of the government tomorrow. If there's one thing we know, it's that Jeremy Corbyn doesn't have the answer. The Labour Party have no policy. They are as divided as every other part of the House of Commons. They've switched and turned on their policy throughout the last couple of years. We have to stick with the Prime Minister and now deliver Brexit. Thank you. All right, good luck. You sticking around, I guess, for the next few days, hopefully. Yeah. Yes. Well, they will all start. We're still leaving. Yeah. Good night. Nice to see you. Cheers. Yeah. Bye now.
We do a noddy, so we can have a.
I don't think there's going to be much point, but I found out that it's quite down.
So, again, another interesting take on what's actually happening. So none of the Conservatives think that Theresa May, even though with the vote of no confidence, is going to be replaced. There's no appetite. There's Mr. Manderson.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Should we do this first?
So, let's see what Mr. Manderson's saying.
Can we get sound check? Yeah, I'm rolling.
Peter Mandelson, former. Well, the result tonight is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's far greater and exceeds anyone's predictions. And I think the reason for it is twofold. One is, of course, the Prime Minister's authority within her own party. But I think rather more fundamentally, that people from all parts of the House of Commons, all parties and all shades of opinion on Brexit have come together and have said this deal is a bad deal. It really will not do. It settles nothing. It says nothing about what our future economic relationship is going to be with the European Union. People are not going to vote for a pig in a poke. They want to know what they're signing up to. And until they get that clarity, there will be no closure.
So realistically, Prime Minister has to survive, and then she has 3 days to go to the EU and get more from them. Is there anything that she can get that will push her deal through Parliament?
Well, I'm sure the Prime Minister will survive the confidence vote in the House of Commons because, you know, her party and their unionist allies from Northern Ireland will rally round. I mean, there's no question about that. I assume they will. Who knows in politics now? I think the bigger question is where she takes Brexit from here. She can go back to Brussels and say, look, the deal's gone down. Would you mind sort of tweaking it here or introducing an adjustment there or applying a little bit new language or cosmetic? I don't think that's going to wash anymore. I think that if the majority had been far smaller, that might have been possible. But people don't have confidence now in Europe in Mrs May's ability to carry anything about her deal through the House of Commons. And they know that making a small adjustment here or there is simply not going to win the day.
There will be those who say there isn't a majority for anything. This is just a very tough time to put anything through. There are not enough votes anyway. So, how do you get past the 29th without fixing a no-deal Brexit?
I think Mrs May owes it to the entire to make sure that market business panic does not set in, run on the pound as a result of allowing people to imagine that we might actually crash out of the European Union at the end of March as a result of her defeat today. I mean, that would inflict huge pain and immense costs on the country and our economy. And she must at all costs exclude the possibility of that happening at the end of March. But beyond that, what she's got to do is to start talking to people and listening to people. The problem, right from the beginning, 2.5 years ago when she embarked on this, is that she thought she knew it all. She can impose her red lines, she can impose her conditions, I'm not having this, I'm not having that, and then expect the rest of Parliament and the country simply to fall in behind her and lead her, follow her lead wherever it might go. And of course, with this deal, we don't know what future there is for Britain with the European Union after we left. And people are simply not prepared to take that gamble. They're certainly not prepared to take that gamble with her. And that's the message, I think, that will have borne in on her as a result of this vote this evening in the Commons.
So it's going to take cross-party talks?
Oh, I think people have got to talk right across the Commons, and they've also got to bear in mind that whilst the country is divided about Brexit, no question about that. They were divided 2 years ago, and the country remains divided now. We've also got to listen to the public, engage the public in a conversation. The reason why people voted for Brexit, in my view, in the first place, is because they wanted change. It was a demand for change. People were not happy about their lives, about politics, about what was being done for them or on their behalf in different parts of the country. It was a cry to be heard. So politicians, members of Parliament behind me, their first duty is to listen to their constituents and, in my view, also take the final decision about all this back to their constituents. I don't think we can now look to Parliament alone to resolve this matter. I think that we have to look eventually to the people themselves to sign this off one way or the other.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm not quite sure what was meant there by signing it off. I mean, what would happen if Mr. Mandelson? Mr. Man being there by signing it off, sir. What did you mean by signing it off?
Well, deciding which way they want to go.
But surely if they've already voted to leave, then that would have been signed off at that point, though.
Unfortunately, we've had 2.5 years of chaos since.
Thanks. So we've had 2.5 years of chaos because the Parliament is full of Remainers, and really there has to be a change in our political class. That's basically what has to happen. We have to get maybe another party, a third party in there that has different ideas and different ways of actually looking at it. The contraction of the political class into just these two parties is restricting the political debate, and they're not representing the people in the constituency. If the 17.4 million people went and voted for UKIP or joined UKIP, then it would be a completely different sort of situation. There would be the Brexit would be delivered, but because of so many Remainers in the actual Parliament and not representing their actual constituents, then we have a major issue. You could join these political parties and get rid of your MP who's misrepresenting you. Why it's not been done, why the people in the constituencies are not getting rid of MPs who are obviously not representing their interests. I don't know, like Anna Soubry's a Remainer in a Brexit seat. Why the people in the constituency are not just joining the Conservative Party and actually voting no confidence in her, that would get rid of her. But then again, central office may just parachute somebody else in. And they might be a Remainer as well. So it really has to be a change in the actual, before you could actually, or the parties that are there, it would have to be a change in getting a UKIP party in to actually change it. And Nigel Farage was very close at actually breaking through there. If the Conservative Party hadn't cheated basically to keep him out, then it would be a whole different kettle of fish. But very interesting. Hope you all got that.
Can we talk in the morning? I guess we'll have to consider how.
But I mean, this is a massive night in politics.
You do.
I don't.
No, I mean,
Hey, look, Mandelson said no to me 3 times.
Yeah, well, I can move my mouse. Yes, yeah, so almost myself.
You're not shooting, are you?
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Actually start asking for the sorts of changes that
Lovely, thank you.
Didn't get much there. I think that's us. Oh.
Great.
Okay, cool.
Hey, you missing on me, all right?
Oh,
Well,
no, thank you.
I'm really sorry, it's got to run
is
off.
it? Oh, that's fine.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. But, ja.
Das war denn das für ein
So, I think that's us. I think we've done enough for tonight. Very interesting. Wee snippets of information there. But
Only one who's run the radio showed you. All they want instead is to go towards a harder Brexit, a Canada-style Brexit, in which we will sacrifice a lot of our trade, but nonetheless will not be having to follow any of the Europe rules. Now, this is the sort of choice the House of Commons needs in order to make that choice once and for all. And if she's not, and if the government doesn't have sufficient unity or cohesion, to table another plan B, a clear proposition, and they really do have to move aside. Somebody and a party and a new government can do that.
First of all, on that note, Theresa May has said that she is going to now reach out if she gets an opportunity to speak to senior parliamentarians, try and get a conservative consensus and take her back to Europe. Isn't that the best possible forward now?
Yes, but in the cabinet today, when people like the Secretary Greg Clark, the Justice Secretary Greg George, the Deputy Secretary Alan Mark, suggested that she should reach out to the Labour Party and see whether there's a consensus that can be built up. The chairman of the Conservative Party, this down on the table by all accounts and said Tory party will not have it. They will not have that bipartisan reaching out across the aisle. And indeed, Foreign Secretary, I gather, Home Secretary, Trade Secretary Liam Fox all came in and said she mustn't follow that path. She's got to keep to her own Tory Brexit. Well, we saw tonight what happened to her own Tory Brexit. She does not demand support even in her own party, let alone the House of Commons as a whole.
So then do you believe that Corbyn is the man to guide us through the Brexit waters?
Oh, I have no doubt at all that the government that we had is exhausted, it's limping, it doesn't command credibility even amongst their own members of parliament, let alone the country as a whole. No, I think the country is crying out for change. They want a new government, they want a new approach, but before they get that, they're going to have a different election and decide who to vote for. It's not easy to bring about a general election now with the rules, new rules that exist in the House of Commons. But I think that's where we're heading. And if we can't have a general election, in my view, the public at the end of the day have got to resolve this whole Brexit. They've got to settle this. They've got to bring closure. I think they'll only be able to do that. Not me, a lot of discussion. The sense it's got to occur before we reach that stage. At the end of the day, I think the public have got to sign themselves, because what we've seen clearly this evening is that the politicians, the members of Parliament, aren't able to do something. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So what they're not saying is, okay, so if they get a second vote, and the vote remained the same, what's going to happen then? They've not got any conclusion on the back of that, because it would then have to go back to Parliament, and then Parliament would still not want to impose a vote. And the question is, what would the questions be on a second referendum? I mean, it's just unfortunate. The political class is the problem, because they're not wanting to carry out the will of the people. And now we've got a clash between the will of the people and the MPs, and the MPs are becoming the problem. And even if they had a second vote, the second vote went in favour of a Brexit or a Leave vote again. What's going to be resolved? Nothing would be resolved, because they would then have to go back to Parliament, and Parliament, because of the amount of Remainers in there, would not want to actually pass the actual legislation to actually leave. And not only that, what would the questions be? Would it be Theresa May deal? Well, that's obviously been soundly rejected, so that's not an option. So would it be Leave and Remain again? So you would have two votes on Leave and Remain, which we've already had the first one, and the Parliament is not prepared to actually implement what the people told the Parliament to implement, which we were told was a once-in-a-lifetime vote of leaving the single market and leaving the customs union. The SNP and the Labour Party both want to stay in the customs union and in the single market, which is not leaving the European Union. So I think that's it for tonight, guys. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope